Today we're going to discuss connectors. Connectors! Connectors! Hello guys, this is WQSY810, the Vice President for Prism, LongIsland.com. Please visit our website, awesome place for tons of information, plus our forum, which is growing like crazy. Anyway, today's video is going to be about what types of connectors we need for our cable connections and stuff like that. It's very important to have some types of connectors on hand just in case you need them to do some converting from one type to another. I have a list, or I have a bunch of them here. I'll give you a list as well. I have a bunch of them here that would be probably recommended to have. I particularly like these particular types of connectors. And let's be clear, every connector that you use gives you some sort of signal loss. Obviously, going to the cable or the connector that you need on either end of the cable is actually recommended, because you're not going to get the dB loss of RF signal from connection to connection that way, or not as much as if you use a converter that went from one type of connector to another. So I have a bunch of them here that I'm going to explain and show you. And these are the ones that I recommend that you have on hand, just in case. You never know. So just go to Amazon and just go nuts purchasing all these different connectors just so you have them. You never know when you're gonna need them. And I've ran into a couple of times where it's like, oh man, I need that connector so I can do this and do that. And it's always great to have just in case. Anyway, let's go. Oh my God, I can talk. See you over there. This is this connector is an N female to N female. The inside has a little hole. That's how you know it's a female. On the copper portion of it, and on the other side, and N female to N female. Very useful to have. This particular one happens to be silver plated. Silver plated connectors offer the best connectivity connection. However, the standard steel connections work just as well, but not as good as silver plated connectors. So this is quite heavy. I mean, for what it is, I mean, it's pretty heavy, beefy connector. So this is very useful. So N female to N female, connector number one. Now we go to SO239. SO239 to N female. Another very useful connector. You never know when you may need to go from an N male like this to a SO239. You just plug it right in. Like, oh yeah, I need it. This is perfect. Now I converted my N male to an SO239. Again, like I said before, every time you add a connector or converter or whatever you have, it gives you some sort of decibel loss on your RF transmission and receive. But nonetheless, sometimes you need to use these things, and it's critical to have. So that's what that's for. Converting, going from, and that's useful. So I recommend SO239 to N female. Another connector that is recommended, that I recommend. Also, here's another one that's, I have a whole bunch, so we're going to go through them all. And then at the end I'll have a list of them so you have some knowledge. This is an SO239 to SO239. This is like if just in case you need to extend a cable, and like you only need like a couple of feet, whatever. You know, maybe 15 feet would be the maybe 20 feet would be the maximum when using this type of connection. I would probably go 15 would be the maximum, but 20 I guess you get away with it. Anything more than that, you're going to notice a signal loss. It is hollow. It goes right through. And this is relatively inexpensive. All these connectors are relatively inexpensive, but this is also good to have. I only have one of these on hand, but I have a big monster one that I have for my bulkhead that I have to use because I plan on installing another antenna, and this is 10 inches long. That's one end over there, and it continues and it goes over to the other side. So this is one big threaded SO239 connector. It's the same thing as this, identical, except it's 10 inches long. Alright, so that connector. And we go to the PL259 to N male. So PL259 to N male. Huge. This is also very big to have. You never know. Your source may require you to have this connector. I don't see the need for it yet. Believe it or not, I don't see the need to have that at the moment. But you know what? I bought it anyway because you never know. So you have male on both ends, which is rather strange. But you never know. You may have an end where you need to convert it. Like, say for argument's sake, oh, actually no, I have a good source, a good reason for it. Maybe the other end of your cable is a SO239 connection on your antenna cable, and you need to convert it. You convert it from an SO239, screw this into it, and then it turns into a male, and then you can connect this to your antenna, which is probably a good use for that. All right, so there you go. So yeah, I'm sorry, PL259 here, and N male. This is a lot of connectors, huh? Now, this is a very useful one. This is an N male to an SO239. This is huge. I have 4 of these babies, because these are used all the time, especially on if you have a repeater or a radio that has an N on the back of it. Sometimes Motorola uses the N female, and you need to convert it because most people don't have N connectors. So this will convert it to an SO239 where you connect a PL239 259. God, all these different numbers. An SO239 and a PL259 will match up together perfectly. So it's perfect for antennas and repeaters, converting one to another. So I have 4 of these babies because I use them pretty often, you know, and it's always great to have, you know, all different, you know, having a plethora of options available for you. That's very common. The N male to SO239 conversion. That's a very popular connector. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's pretty cool. This is a PL259 to N female. Also very useful. If you want to convert one of your, so you have, like I have a cable here that is for a repeater, and it's a short run. It's about 3 feet long, and I have on both ends. I have these two connectors on it. But you know what? Maybe I want to convert this to PL259. instead of end connectors. But I want this quality of cable. So then I would, you know, I want a PL259 on it. So then I would screw one end here onto it like this. Now I converted it to a PL on this end, and then maybe the other end is still an end connector, you know, and then I use this end, this on one end, and then this on the other end, and there's my conversion. Small little adjustment there, a little, you know, add a little converter, and boom, now I can actually interface with my gear. Like, for argument's sake, if I go in from my repeater may have an end female, and I plug this end onto it, and then but my amplifier has an SO239 on it. Now I can actually interface it, use a high shielded cabling like this. This is a RG 142, and then I can get the flexibility of this cable, and then I can interface it with my repeater and an amplifier with no trouble now that I converted it, because my amplifier only has SO239 on it. Not going to work very well, so this is a great way for converting it, going from one type to the other. So end female to PL259, home run. I have two of these, so move them over there. Let's go down the line here. Now we're going into a funky type of connector. This is SMA-Female. See in there a little hole. SMA-Female to SO239. You're probably thinking to yourself, what the heck can you use this for? Well, let me zoom out a little bit here. Say for argument's sake you have a radio such as this, which is a UV82, and you want to use it in your house. You simply unscrew, uses the same connection, unscrew that, you saw me miss it, screw this on. Now I can use a regular antenna at my house using my HT as my base, in a matter of speaking, 5-watt radio, 4-watt radio, and dumping it out to a high gain antenna where I get about, you know, maybe 15 watts ERP on the antenna side. And this is very common. A lot of people use this conversion to allow to connect their regular antenna at the house with their HT, or testing power with the power meter or whatever. So this is what you would use this for. Very useful. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I only have one of those, but really don't need that many because I only need it once. I use it for testing. So SO239, SMA-Female. Next connector. It's great, isn't it? This is like connector 101. We have a couple more. We got 5 more to go. And these next connectors are a little unusual because you're not sure what you're going to need them for. But this one is a BNC to SO239. You never know. You may need it. I have a frequency counter here that requires BNC, and I want to be able to connect an antenna to it. So I use BNC to accomplish that. So I'll show you another one. I'm going to put this one aside over here. I'm going to show you another one. Very similar. Oh, these are all BNC type. That's why I'm just moving this one aside over here so you can still see it. So this is a BNC. This happens to be a BNC male. This is a BNC female with an SMA male. So SMA male to BNC female. Another unusual connector. Always good to have. Like I said, this one is a SMA female to BNC male. Like, what the heck, Joe? All these crazy connectors. And last but not least, this happens to be a kit. I got this as a kit. All 4 of these I got as a kit on Amazon. This last one is SMA Male to BNC Male. Now this one's perfect because either one. This one is good, and these two are really cool because I have a frequency counter where I actually connect an antenna. I can actually connect an antenna to. Now I have this little antenna here, and it's the opposite of the typical antenna that you normally see on most of these radios. This is the exact opposite. So I would use this connector and then screw on this antenna, and then I can connect it to a device like my frequency counter, and that's what I have this connected to. It's a perfect way to communicate, like with my frequency counting, a little antenna on it would be perfect. So that's what I use that one for. And then if I wanted to use a different antenna, like the one I took off earlier, I have a connector for that too as well. Right? So we would use this one. So I can use that antenna instead and plug it into the BNC. So I have that. See how perfect. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Then, these are all super tiny connectors, and I have one more that goes with that kit, and that is SMA Female to BNC Female. So you have all different types of connectors that you could possibly need for, connecting your radio. Like, say for argument's sake, if I didn't want to use that other connector on that radio, I can just use this one instead, and I can connect my antenna via BNC instead, which is a home run. Or if I have the same thing, but I need that was a BNC Female, now I have BNC Male, and I can connect that way. So you want to have all these different types of connectors available to you, because you never know what kind of situation you may be down the line. You don't want to have to be like running down the store to go, oh, what do I need? I need something. I need to get this connector. And I have one last connector, and it's very important. I have 2 of these. I'll show you what I use it for in a second. This one is the coolest one out of them all. And you should have, if you're a Motorola fan, this one should be in you should have many of these in your box. This happens to be a mini UHF. That's this little guy here. That's Motorola's connector. They want to be different, so they made this connector. So it's a mini UHF connector to an SO239. So this is what you would need for your mobile or base. If you want to have an antenna on your radio, this is what you would need to convert it. If you're using a PL259 connector on the other end to connect to this, to mate up to this, and that's what you would use. So the back of the radio, let me see if I can get this in here. Back of the Motorola radio looks like this, and this happens to be a CDM radio, and this one I have the connector on. Same connector as what I just showed you, right there. And this allows me to convert the mini UHF to SO239 so I can connect my antenna to it. It's a home run. So there you go. So those are the connectors. Let me zoom out here, and so you can see all the connectors that we went through already, and we'll line them all up so you can see. So it's always good to replace them after you're done. I mean, obviously if you used it, then you need to replace it. But there's quite a few connectors that you could use for your gear. You never know what you may need. And I'll make the list of them after this video is completed, which will be in a couple of seconds here. But at least you have an understanding of what connectors you need to have in your arsenal, just in case. And these are them. These are all the connectors that you may possibly need for ham or GMRS communications. All these. Okay guys, my name is Joey. Call sign is WQSY810. I am the Vice President for PrismLongIsland.com, and please subscribe. Take care.